Everybody, TJ Mac Vintage Cards here, and today I'm doing a profile of the 1984 Donruss set. And as I said in a couple prior videos, I was working on finishing this set up of the 30 key cards to display in my card room. And it's finally done. Real excited about that. I'd worked on it probably about 10 or 12 years ago. I started it, and then I just went away from it because I had some other projects I was working on. And then, as I said before, I recently sold some cards just to pare down my collection some and just get refocused on what I really like most. And then I wanted to finish this project up, so I needed, like, I think it was 6 or 7 cards. Got the rest of those, and now it's been completed. And I can get it displayed in my card room. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about this set. This was a set for me. When I was a collector, I never saw this in stores growing up. In the later 80s, when card stores in my area started popping up more and more, you'd see these packs here. They were like, I don't know, $3 a pack probably back then. And for a young kid, that's a lot of money. I was never going to pay for that by any means. So I never owned any of these cards, not one in my collection when I was a kid growing up. Just because of that reason. It was considered really, I think, one of the earliest premium type cards for the time. And if you look at the photography of these cards, I would, go along with that. I think they're very high quality cards. 84 Donruss is the first year of the rated rookie. And I do have one example in my case of that. It's the Joe Carter rated rookie card. This is a notoriously tough card with centering. And that holds true to this one right here. Don't, again, usually talk a lot about that stuff, but I think it's important when you're buying a set, you kind of understand some of the ins and outs of it. And this 84 Donruss is a really tough one to get centered. I think it's a nice example, though. I know some are real big on centering, and I am to some degree, but I'm very comfortable and happy with this this card in my collection. It's also said to have a lower print run versus other sets from that era, certainly other Donruss issues, and definitely, I would say, the Tops and Flair issues as well. And when this came out, the packs retailed for about 30 cents a pack, and you got 15 cards in a pack with a Duke Snider puzzle piece that came along with it. It was a 658 card set, and then there were 2 additional cards that you got. They were the A and B numbered cards. They had, one had the Johnny Bench and Carl Yastrzemski, because those 2 retired in 1983, as well as the Raleigh Fingers Gaylord Perry combo card. And they were A and B. You could get them in the packs, but you could not get them in the factory set that was issued that year. So the factory set would only have been 658 cards. And I read an article, and I'll attach the link to it if I can find it. I'll put it on the bottom of this video. But it was from the Journal-Times out of Racine, Wisconsin in 1991. And it said that these cards in 1984 to get a set would have been about $12 to $15. And then in 1981, when this article was written, sets were going for about $350. And the reason for that, of course, is the Don Mattingly rookie. And the Don Mattingly rookie at that time, they said, was about a $100 card. Maybe a little better view of it there. It was about a $100 card, and the Darryl Strawberry is about a $50 card. So they made up a very considerable value of that set at the time. And just for the heck of it, I looked just to see what the raw sets were going for now. And a raw set you can get for, I think, under $200. You can even get them for around $100, depending on the condition. But a factory set will set you back starting around $300, and I see them get into over $400, depending on how the market's doing at that time. And this set here is considered by many to be the most popular Donruss set, and I would argue even maybe the most popular set of the 80s, along with the Upper Deck. And it was known to have a real classy design associated with it, and has these really blazing white borders on it, which I really like. And it's really highlighted to me with really these colorful borders on the bottom with the yellow lettering, and then it's got the striping on it. But really the key to me is the photography on this set. It just has very quality photography, I think very high quality photography, very nice coloring on it, and I really like how they block out the backgrounds on a lot of these cards, so they really just focus on the one player, and there's only limited exceptions to that. You can see it on the Pete Rose card here. There's some players in the background, but even they're kind of blurred out a little bit, so your eye's drawn to a swinging Pete Rose. But here on the Andre Dawson, you can see everybody's blurred out, and then the image focuses you directly on Andre Dawson. And that's really, you see a lot throughout this set. There's not other players on a lot of these cards. And what I like about this one here, too, is you can see Tom Seaver's hand, and he's throwing, looks like a four-seam fastball in that picture. Nice swinging shot of Paul Molitor. So we'll go more carefully through these cards, but I just wanted to kind of go through some of the background on the set and just tell you my connection with it, which really isn't very much growing up. It was just one of those sets that I'm like, oh, can't touch that one. But the reason why I wanted to put this together now is I'm predominantly a Topps 56 to 89 collector of the key cards, as I've said many times, but I'm focusing on the 84 Donruss and the 87 Donruss just because they're sets that I have the connection with. And the connection for this one, again, is one that I could not touch as a kid. So I'm like, now that I have the funds to do it, I decided to go after it in my adulthood, and I'm real happy I did. So you can see here with this photography, this Eddie Murray card, for example, look at the ball. It looks like it's going right by his face here. He's holding back on the swing. Just a really sharp looking image of Eddie Murray there. And that's one of the popular cards in the set as well. And then here's a classic Robin Yount with the 80s Brewers uniforms, which I really like a lot. Dave Winfield. He competed with Don Mattingly for the batting title that year. I believe Mattingly beat him by 3 points, but it went right down to the end of the season. In 85 Donruss, they did the 2 for the title card with Mattingly and Winfield on it, which is a really cool card. I had that one growing up. Nice classic shot of George Brett here. And I showed this Henderson one a couple weeks back in one of my videos where I just kind of show off a couple cards from each sport that I acquired. So this one was a recent pickup. And then here you have Gary Carter, who really, in 1984, he would have been the main guy for catcher because Johnny Bench had retired, even though he was better than Bench by this point of his career. But he was the main catcher in the National League. He had 294 that year, led the league with 106 RBIs. He tied with Mike Schmidt for that. And then beautiful smiling Reggie Jackson. I really like this Ozzie Smith. I like when they do that with the background. It's just really distinguishes the main image from the background, which I really like on these cards, as I mentioned before. And then you got the really attractive powder blue Cardinals with just that very vibrant red. It's almost pink. It's so bright there. Just a really nice image of Ozzie Smith. There's Nolan Ryan winding up, ready to whip one. And here the yellow gets kind of lost in the striping of his pants, but it's got a nice purple background, purple stripe on the bottom there with his name. Talked about that Pete Rose. Classic Expos uniform, Andre Dawson. These cards are grades 8s and 9s in this set. The Ripken's probably my favorite in the set, just from an image standpoint. Classic swing here. Really fond of these Orioles helmets. And just, they had, I think, real beautiful uniforms back then. I like the full button uniforms. You didn't see those always in the 80s, so I like that the Orioles had that on, and that Ripken's wearing it in this image. There's Steve Carlton. That's a recent pickup as well. Swinging Paul Molitor. There's Wade Boggs. I really think the colors really work well with on the bottom with the striping. I think it really doesn't take away from the image of the card, which I think really is one of the reasons why it's so popular, this set. There's the Mike Schmidt, and then the coloring really works on this one with the uniform and the striping. Really nice. I'm going to flip one over here so we can see the back. This is what the backs look like from that year. Real bright. And typical Donruss for that time, they'd go back and look at, I think it was like maybe the previous year. Let's look at Fergie. They go back, I think it was 6 years, is it? 5 years. So here's going back Fergie, 5 years. So they don't do the whole career on the back of the cards. They would just go back 5 years. Sandberg, this is a second-year card of him, so he didn't play that long to go that far back. But you can see he was in the Phillies before he got moved to the Cubs and started his Hall of Fame career. Then they have a highlights, and they give you the contract status, and typical things of other cards, date of birth, all that. Thought I'd just show you that. This Sandberg card with the Ripken is another one that I really like. Just a great back shot of Sandberg with the number 23. Really a classic looking card to me. We got a Phil Niekro ready to throw a knuckleball. An expression on his face. And this is the last card of Fergie Jenkins. You know, with the key cards, I mean, you can go a lot of different directions. I didn't put the strawberry in here. That's just by my choice. He was certainly a big name player for a few years, but I just didn't want to include it. I don't think he's a card. It's not a direction I wanted to go with this case. I did put the Mattingly in because the Mattingly, I'm a Yankees fan #1, but that is an iconic card. So, again, everybody collects differently. That's just the direction I wanted to go. And I did add this Fergie Jenkins, though. Here's the Mattingly. I do think at some point I'm going to probably get the Trammell and the Morris because the Tigers did win the World Series that year. This Gwynn card really pops. You can see the yellow here with the brown. I think this is one of the most attractive cards in the set as well, you know, with the Ripken and the Sandberg, just because it's a great, you know, photo of him, #1, and just all the coloring works so nicely together on that card. There's the Crew. That's the last one I needed for the set. Joe Morgan. There's another recent pickup, the Sutton, as well as the Tony Perez. I went with him as well. I'm just a Perez fan, so exposing my bias there. He's a Hall of Famer, though, so I added him. And poor Jim Palmer. This was his last year. You know, certainly a Hall of Fame career and everything, but in May of that year, the Orioles released him, and then he ended up retiring. But he did have a nice career in broadcasting. He was a very good broadcaster. Although, I mean, he would say some silly things from time to time. I read one thing he said one time. He says, when you stop throwing good pitches, you start throwing bad pitches. You know, just very insightful, I guess, huh? So, but, you know, I think if you say enough words every day, you're probably going to say some things that you regret or some things that don't seem to make a lot of sense. I'm sure I've done this in these videos from time to time. So anyway, again, just wanted to show this great set off. I'm thrilled to have it. It is just a great addition to my collection and just one that I can knock off my list now, other than maybe getting, like I said, a Trammell and a Morris. Everybody have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this profile. I'm doing this video a little early this week. I usually do 2 videos a week, but I'm off today, and I got a busy week with work and kids this week, so I'll probably get another video out later in the week. Everybody, I hope you had a great 4th of July, and we'll talk again soon.